Hare Krishna World Raisers, Sabina and Roger here. We've been to the movie theater and watched Oppenheimer.
Yeah, we were kind of looking forward to it because we do know that the Bhagavad Gita was very close to Oppenheimer and did quote it right after the first atomic bomb blast. So I was actually really looking forward to the scene in which he was speaking that quote.
Whoopsie.
And I was a tad disappointed would be an understatement. So we'll be talking about that in this video, but it's important to keep our minds focused on the absolute truth that Supreme Lord Krishna is a little bit beyond all of this. But I'd still like to talk about it. Was it a wrong action? Was it adharma? Or is it more beneficial that it was actually in there so then people get the impressions, because the word Vishnu is spoken, and there's so many people in this world that have probably never heard that word before, and it could be potent and powerful. Yes, little seeds planted, who knows. But anyways, we're going to start off by watching Oppenheimer's quote, because we haven't watched that video yet, and then there's another small one, and we're going to be discussing throughout, and then we're going to finish with a teaching from Gurudev. Yeah, let's keep the discussion going in the comment section. Let's talk all about this. Let's vent.
Let's kindly and wisely.
Yes, absolutely.
Please, Lord Krishna, with your words.
We knew the world would not be the same. Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent. I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form
To press him.
and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." I suppose we all thought that one way or another.
Yeah, wow, so powerful. So you could go back to that moment and imagine just this atomic bomb going off for the first time. Just catastrophic, right? Huge. So the fact that he, remembered the Gita in that moment is
Wow.
like super powerful. And also I think that his understanding would have been fairly good if he took the time to learn Sanskrit just so that he could study
Unbelievable.
these texts.
Unbelievable, huh?
Yeah, they obviously had a little bit of a connection. So I'm looking forward to kind of diving into that a little bit more, because with this understanding, it is a little slight mistranslation from what I understood, because it should be time, right? But then same thing, right? Time is the destroyer, so it is death essentially. So no problem there. But what's most significant of it is that he's recognizing, hopefully deeper to the sense that, yeah, this is brought about through mankind's actions. We can say that, dharma with adharma, because there would need to be this conflict going on in order for a weapon of mass destruction, to be created. Whether you're on the side of good or bad, the good needs to stop the bad, and then this was manifested. But where did the manifestation even come from? So we're knowing that everything is coming from the Supreme Ultimate, and in this sense, Vishnu, Krishna represents that, right? So that's what the Gita is all about. Everything is manifesting from one supreme source. Even though we think that we're the doers, this is still happening. And it shows kind of degenerate times right now, in the sense that if humanity is just going to be in constant conflict and fighting and war all the time, then it's going to be culminating into some pretty impressive, catastrophic weapons. So right now there's enough, bombs on this planet to completely destroy mind, right? So people who are just kind of hearing this quote from the Gita, and then they're thinking that, oh, what a horrible deity or God. They're not understanding that, yeah, somebody who's omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, transcendent, and immanent, the source of everything, yeah, is going to be the source of all life and all of existence, absolutely everything, but also the source of death. That's just the way it is when you're everything.
Okay, friends, let's watch a mini snippet of Cillian Murphy talking about the Bhagavad Gita. I haven't watched it yet, and Cillian Murphy is one of my favorite actors at the moment, so I'm very curious about what he has to say.
I did read the Bhagavad Gita in preparation, and I thought it was absolutely beautiful text.
Nice.
Yay!
Very inspiring, and I think it was a consolation to him. I think he kind of needed it, and it provided a lot of consolation to him all his life.
Your learnings from reading the Gita, you said in preparation you read it.
Yeah, I mean, don't grill me on it.
I'm no expert.
Yeah, but I just found it very beautiful.
Oh, that's it already.
Oh.
I just found it very beautiful. Well, how very beautiful is that? Cillian Murphy was phenomenal in the role of Oppenheimer, by the way. The movie was very well done, and I can totally recommend it, except of this one unfortunate scene. Also, being a superstar, having a lot of fans, that he actually read the Gita and is saying it's a beautiful text. It might inspire lots and lots of fans to buy the Gita and read it themselves, which is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so beautiful and inspirational. And I don't know too much about his backstory and then his, like, if he is spiritual and if he's on the path, because the Bhagavad Gita, for those of you who have read it, and if you haven't yet, you can do it with us on this channel. We did it back last year, so we'll link in the pinned comment to that, because everybody who has the inkling and the desire should read it. But also a word of caution, and that might be for Cillian. So he's calling it inspirational and beautiful, but I'm wondering how much of it he actually understood, because it takes a seeking mind in order to be able to grasp it. So not to say that he wasn't doing it with any negative intention, so it still will plant some seeds, but a lot of it will maybe not ripen just yet per se. And my concern with that is also because of the scene that happened during the movie, because if he was more inclined to this spiritual realization through the text and then seeing the potency and the power and the true nature of this most sacred and holy book, he might have been talking to the director and saying, hey, maybe we shouldn't do this scene like this.
You know what just crossed my mind? What if they would not have made the scene like that? Nobody would be talking about the Bhagavad Gita very much, actually. Now it's a big thing, and
yeah, I guess
it actually blew up. So not only have millions of people in the West heard the name Vishnu and actually seen some Sanskrit letters, but also, it will be in the news again and again.
Yeah, that's true.
The word Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad Gita. And it will leave imprints. And I do personally believe that those imprints are more important than this unfortunate scene. And in my opinion, they shall not cut it out.
Yeah, perfect. So Sabine is on that side of the table. Yes. And I'm on the other side of the table because, to me, I'm holding true to my connection with the Gita. And not to say that, I'd still probably say that they should leave it in for the reasons that she said, but my disappointment still stands firm because I think it could have been a better scene. I think it could have been, in my mind, I was thinking it was going to be right when the bomb went off. So the bomb went off and he's looking at it and it's like this destruction, and then he quotes it.
Whoa.
Right?
Okay, you win.
I am time, the destroyer of worlds.
Wow. Epic fail, I would say.
That would have been
Hollywood.
Incredible.
What did you do?
And then it would have been impactful in my mind, and people would have still gotten those imprints. They would have been like, what is he quoting in that moment? For those who didn't know, they would have been like, right? And then they would have been discussed, and people would have discovered also, right?
But anyways, we have to accept that it happened. We have to make sure that Hollywood and the producers know that it was quite unfortunate and that actually they missed out on something even more epic. That's true.
Yeah, something more epic. And then also I want to say, so before people get riled up and upset, and I did get a little bit, angry, but then I got to remember the teachings. I got to remember the Bhagavad Gita.
Yes.
Everything is Krishna. Everything is the manifestation of one source. Manifesting as all forms. And yeah, there is ignorance, and then there's people at play, and then there's things happening. There's light, and then there's darkness, there's adharma, and there's dharma. And then I remember this as well, because also it's kind of trending lately that people are thinking that, Hinduism is under attack.
Oh.
Right? So I want to say, well, that's not such a bad thing, is it? Because it's showing how incredibly true and pure Sanatan Dharma is, because it's only the light that's ever really getting attacked by the darkness, right? And in the fact that Sanatan Dharma has, lasted for so long, it's eternal, and it accepts everything else. That's why these other factions want to attack it, because it's the real threat. It's the real deal. It's literally the only thing that can shine its truth and its light onto those and dispel the darkness, right? So we got to keep that in mind, and we got to be like, hey, well, that's just the way it is. And we got to understand where we are in the divine play, and we know where we are. Sanatan Dharma is the way. For those who don't know that, that's unfortunate, and we feel compassion for them. Before we move on, though, I want to ask you guys for your comments on, what you believe was right in that situation. Should they leave the scene in? Should they take it out? Kind of Sabine faction or Roger faction? Or the best is if they would have just made a better scene. Should it have been a better scene with the bomb going off?
Okay, you can answer that and answer my question. Now that it happened, what is our dharma to do? Because it happened, so we can't change it.
Yeah.
We can't really say, oh, they should have done, they should have changed the scene. But
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
What is our duty now to make sure that in the future they make even better movies? Let's watch our final video. It's called How the Bhagavad Gita Saved Oppenheimer by Gurudev.
After the test of the first atomic bomb, Oppenheimer famously quoted this verse from the Bhagavad Gita.
He knew the world would not be the same. I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on its multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." I suppose we all thought that one way or another.
This is what it really means.
Lord Krishna said, Nimitta matram bhavasarya. I have already killed all these people. You just wake up and do your duty. You just be my instrument. I am the time.
Whoa, look at Krishna.
To this query of Arjuna, who are you? Now Lord Krishna says in one word, Kalosmi loka kshayakrit pravrit. I am the time in which everything dissolves, from which everything comes. It's in time things arise, and into time they all dissolve. And I am the time. I am the grand time. I am the now. This now is so deep. We are in the moment, but we have not realized that this moment is deep and vast. What Arjuna experienced is the vastness and the depth of time. That is scary. And that's what his meditation is. It is scary when the mind is small. Now, Lord Krishna is saying, look, I am the time of which you are scared. I am with you. When the time is with you, what is that fear? Time has already executed all this work. You just be my instrument. You be hollow and empty. Whatever is your duty, you just perform that. If a policeman says, oh, I cannot control the crowd, a wise person would say, hey, you take your stick and do what you need to do. You perform your duty. If you don't perform your duty, you will not be doing justice to yourself. Perform your duty and be an instrument. When you do your duty, you will be at peace. You are an instrument. If a doctor sincerely treats his patients, he has done his job. Time alone can tell you. Arjuna was unsure whether he should fight the war. He has lost all his self-confidence. That is when the Guru comes and tells him, hey, I am here, don't worry, you go ahead and fight.
Beautiful.
It's not that Krishna was very fond of fighting. In fact, he was not. 3 times he went to Duryodhana, tried to make peace. And so did Lord Krishna say, Nimitta matram bhavasavya. I have already killed all these people. You just wake up and do your duty. And you gain your credit by doing the job. Lord Krishna is connecting ethereal, subtle world and bringing him relative worlds. It's easy to live in either one of them. People live only in the relative world and have no idea about the ethereal, causal, subtle worlds. And there are some others who will just live in the subtle world. They are lost touch in the ground reality here, the ground level. And they also lost. Lord Krishna is perfect combination of both. One feet on the ground, firmly, the other one just cross over and only a toe is touching. Rest is in the air. In his very standing, he expressed his stance. Be practical, at the same time, be the instrument of the divinity. Know that you are only an instrument of mine. Leave rest to that God. You do your job and then leave the rest to the universe. I am the time beyond the space. This is not the time that is caught in the time-space graph. There is this, I am the time which is beyond the space, wherein everything comes and into which everything dissolves. When you are grateful, your throat chokes. Now Arjuna felt completely safe. Not only safe, he woke up to the reality that delusion has gone, ignorance has gone, gratitude has taken over. He's so grateful. See, when you are grateful, you fold your hands. It's a normal practice. Wherever you go, when the heart recognizes the greatness, the bowing is a natural phenomenon. Rising and bowing is a natural phenomenon. Tremendous respect arose in Arjuna, and his folded hands is full of gratitude. He was a keen observer. Now in this situation, he is observing one thing. In this grand time that is you, the human beings are rejoicing. When you come in touch with the reality, the good people rejoice. The Rakshasas, they are scared and they run away from reality. The great man, they bow, they adore, they celebrate.
Gurudev covered him twice in a week.
Yeah, so his video there, so definitely clickbait, but totally worth it. Yeah, he didn't talk about Oppenheimer at all. But we can interpret from what he's talking about there, and even with Oppenheimer's connection to the Gita, and if he did read it, because I know people are wondering, you know, and he had trouble. It was even shown in the movie that he was a little bit remorseful and questioning if he did the right thing, right? Mm-hmm. You know, when he went to see the president, and then he had that moment. And it was like, and you can see that, you know, did you do the right thing? But if he was actually a student of the Gita, and if he was practicing it and following it like Arjuna and doing his duty, then I'm in the frame of mind that, yeah, a weapon of mass destruction is like, that's causing a lot of death, no doubt. And definitely these weapons need to be under control, and it honestly probably would be for the best if they never got invented. But at the same time, we can be grateful that it was invented on the side of Dharma, I believe, because if it wasn't them, if there was an arms race to build these things, and if they didn't build it first, if they weren't the first ones done, then it would have been, you know, the Germans or the Japanese, basically, or the Russians, right? And then who knows what they would have used it on, or if they would have just kept dropping them, or they would have won and then they would have taken over everything. So anyways, in that sense, it's something to contemplate, because, you know, because Krishna didn't say no. When it came clear that it was time to go to war, then they went to war. Yeah, he tried for peace many times, just like in the past world wars. This one in particular, yeah, you got the side of, you know, peace and good that has to rise up to the Adharmic forces that are trying to conquer the world, right? And then, yeah, so it was like Krishna coming with the big weapon saying, here, boom, done, right? And then that's Oppenheimer. It's no coincidence in my mind that the guy that created the biggest weapon was a student of the Bhagavad Gita. It's like it was his duty. Incredible. Think about it. There's like, this is on the world scale. This is a world war. And Krishna was a part of it.
He cannot not.
Yeah.
Ultimately, too. But why did Oppenheimer use the word Vishnu, not Krishna, do you think?
Sounds like he was reading it himself. So if he learned Sanskrit, you know, so that he could read these texts himself, then maybe, you know, the words that he was using, because I think they're very similar. You know,
Vishnu and Krishna?
No, the death and time, right? And then also knowing that, so Krishna's cosmic form in his mind was Vishnu, right?
Because he was speaking there about the cosmic form. Okay.
Yeah, and also, you know, Krishna and Vishnu are one. They're the same, right? So you have Vishnu and his avatar, or if you believe that Krishna, you know, is the supreme and then Vishnu is the avatar. Ultimately, it doesn't matter as long as you understand that they're one being, right?
Yeah.
So you can think of it, sometimes I think of it, I know that Vishnu does, you know, have a cosmic form, but to me, he's also formless, right? So I can see Vishnu being the formless and then Krishna being the form. We got to discover for ourselves how we relate to the Supreme. And we go from there. But yeah, his teachings, Gurudev's teachings, yeah, all about that, right? All about that moment in the Gita. And I remember that clearly. It's like, when you think about it, everybody on the battlefield is already dead. And then for the cosmic supreme consciousness, like time is like that. It's like, it doesn't matter. It's so quick. It's like, in his mind, he's like, okay, well, these guys, everybody's already dead, like, for a long time, because he's coming from eternity, right? So he's like, just do your duty and it'll play out as it should. And then also remembering that we're not really the doer, right? We got to surrender our actions. There's a divine play going on. And either we take part or we suffer, right? We're resisting. We're not doing our duty. We're not surrendering to, you know, what should be happening, our dharma, what's best for society. We got to pursue that.
And I'm going to do my dharma now and say, let's finish this video because we have to watch Ramanand Saga's Ramayan episode 29, friends. Ooh. We hope to see you there. May Lord Krishna bless you all.
Yeah. And remember to let us know everything down below. And leave a like for Supreme Lord Krishna.